Hello Sem 3 students, this is Mansi Shah once again welcoming you all in this e-lecture series which is an initiative taken by LJ Institute of Pharmacy. So today I'll continue with my session, that is I'll continue on the topic regarding angina. In the last section I have discussed with you regarding ischemic heart disease, right? So in that ischemic heart disease I have told that I'll be discussing regarding angina, myocardial infarction and atherosclerosis in my next session. So due to ischemic heart disease there occurs angina, right? That is nothing but chest pain. So in this session I'll be discussing with you, I'll be explaining regarding angina, how angina occurs, what are the signs and symptoms, what is the pathophysiology, again what are the risk factors, complications. So all this in one we'll discuss in this session. So let's continue with our today's session, that is on angina pectoris. So starting with angina pectoris. So angina pectoris, which is nothing but a syndrome, or you can say a symptom of ischemic heart disease, which occurs due to insufficient blood flow to the heart, right, because of narrowing of coronary artery, right. This can lead to angina condition, that is chest pain, right. As I have shown in the figure, you can see that due to the plaque formation in the coronary artery, there is reduced supply of oxygenated blood to the heart, right, and this has led to angina. So basically angina pectoris can occur first due to spasm or obstruction of coronary arteries, right, then this can lead to ischemia, that is myocardial ischemia. This can lead to reduced oxygen supply to myocardium, and finally chest pain and angina pectoris. So actually this is nothing but when there occurs an imbalance between the oxygen demand and oxygen supply to the heart, right. If there is an imbalance, if the oxygen demand by the heart is more but the supply is reduced, right, because of any reason, because of ischemia, because of myocardial infarction, because of atherosclerotic plaque, right, then what occurs? This can lead to angina condition. Okay, so this is a simple chart explaining the imbalance between the oxygen demand and oxygen supply, right. So pathophysiology of angina, that is, as I've told, that if atherosclerosis occurs, then there occurs decrease in blood vessel lumen, right, there occurs decreased diameter of blood vessel, right, which can lead to decreased volume of blood which is supplied to the heart, and which can lead to decreased myocardial blood supply, right. This leads to myocardial ischemia, which results from imbalance between blood supply and oxygen demand. This has led to angina condition, right. Now the next, either due to any sort of physical activity or due to stress, right, if there is an increase in the heart rate, if there is increase in contractility of heart, right, so what occurs? There is decrease in the diastole, right, means this causes coronary arteries, right, that supply blood to the heart, right, that is decrease in filling, right, during diastole, right. So this can lead to increase in myocardial oxygen demand, right, ultimately leading to myocardial ischemia, which results from imbalance between blood supply and again oxygen demand, which leads to angina pectoris. So further, as you can see in the chart, it is angina pectoris, which is called a stable angina, right, that is leading to myocardial ischemia, right, that is causing death of the cells, right. So finally this can lead to pain, right, that is chest pain radiating from left arm to jaw to chest, right. So this can lead to hypertension, this can lead to severe conditions, that is nausea, hypotension, bradycardia, dyspnea, right, then tachycardia, right. So due to this all the symptoms occurs. Okay, so the next is the signs and symptoms of angina, right, as I explained in the chart in the pathophysiology, that because of reduced supply or impaired supply of blood, right, this can lead to myocardial ischemic condition, and which can lead to angina. Now how this is recognized through symptoms? So there occurs chest pain, right, that is chest discomfort. Okay, that is actually called as chest discomfort. Now this discomfort is described as heaviness or tightness in the chest, right? Or there is increase in pressure, right? Now tachycardia, okay, that is increase in heart rate occurs, okay. Then burning sensations or choking sensation occurs, right? So this pain which is radiating to chest, right, it is now radiating to neck area, jaw area, to the back, to the shoulders, right? Sometimes there is a feeling that feeling of having full stomach, right? Okay, then sometimes by cold temperatures, okay, and this is also accompanied by breathlessness, sweating and nausea in some cases, right, when there occurs angina. Now angina is of three types. First, that is stable angina, second, that is unstable angina, and third, that is variant angina. Variant angina, that is prismatic angina. Okay, as you can see in the diagram, that is normal coronary artery, there is proper supply of blood, right, which is indicated by red color. Okay, so there is a proper supply of blood in the artery, which is normal artery. Now in stable angina, what occurs if there is any atherosclerotic plaque formation occurs, right, and there is narrowing of the artery, and due to which the blood volume or blood supply has decreased, right, this can lead to stable angina. Then unstable angina. Now atherosclerosis which is accompanied with a blood clot, okay, then it is called an unstable angina. And variant angina, you can see that how coronary spasm has occurred. Now see how now there is normal coronary artery, as you can see in the diagram, right, and in the last you can see that how coronary spasm has occurred, and which has led to a condition, what condition can lead to the artery, right, how spasm has occurred and how it has demolded the artery, deshaped the artery, right. This can lead to variant angina, that is called as prismatic angina. Okay, so stable angina, that is classic angina or effort angina. Unstable angina, that is crescendo type of angina, and variant angina, that is prismatic type of angina. So in detail, so this is an overview. See, you can see, as you can see in the diagram, that in the lumen of the artery, right, there are three subtypes. It has three parts, right. So in the interior portion, that is called as intima. Then after that, the medium portion, that is called as media, and the external part, that is called as adventitia, right. This is a just simple transversal section of the artery which is shown. Okay, now if there is occurrence of atherosclerotic plaque formation, this has led to, now this atherosclerotic plaque formation which is fixed, means which is not movable, right, which is not movable and which is on moving, it is not blocking other arteries. So that is fixed type of plaque. This is called, which leads to stable angina. Okay, that is due to stable or fixed atherosclerotic plaque. The next is, now as I have told, that atherosclerotic plaque which is accompanied by a clot formation, that is a thrombus formation, right. So this can lead to unstable angina, right. Now if this is an unstable plaque, means if it is not fixed in the one portion of the artery and it is moving, right, so this can lead to non-ST segment elevation myocardial infarction and ST segment elevation myocardial infarction. Okay, these are the types of myocardial infarction which are leading to angina, right, that is unstable type of angina, but this you will learn in further session. All these terms are called as acute coronary syndromes. You just need to remember right now. Now in detail explanation regarding stable angina. So what is stable angina? So stable is the most common type of angina. As I have told that in stable angina it occurs due to a fixed type of atherosclerotic plaque, right. So it occurs when the heart is working harder than usual, right. So stable angina has a regular pattern. Okay, then how regular pattern, so the pain usually occurs and goes after a few minutes, right, if you take a rest, right. So that is stable angina, right. So on medications, if you are taking medications or medicines on regular amount, then this pain disappears, right. So the stable angina is not called as heart attack, okay, but it can prone or it can lead to heart attack in future. The next is unstable angina. Unstable angina, it has no specific pattern, right? It is more severe than stable angina. Why it is more stable? Why it is more severe? Sorry, than stable angina. Why so? Because as I have told that atherosclerotic plaque, which is accompanied by a clot formation, if it is not stable and if it is moving, right, it can block other arteries also wherever in the heart, in the brain, right, in peripheral nervous system, whichever area, but it can block that artery and it can impair blood supply. It can cause ischemia, right? So this can lead to unstable angina, and this is a serious or dangerous condition, right? Now, unstable angina can occur with or without physical exertion, while stable angina can occur only in specific, that is only if a person has physical exertion or stress, right? But unstable angina can occur with or without physical exertion also, and rest may or may not relieve the pain, right? Rest and medication may or may not relieve the pain, which is totally opposite from stable angina, right? So unstable angina is very dangerous and it requires emergency treatment, okay? And in this case, heart attack can occur soon. The next is variant or presbyteal type of angina. As I have told that there occurs severe coronary spasm, there occurs V shape of coronary arteries, right? But this variant angina is very rare, right? It is a serious type of angina, okay? It is a severe condition where occurs severe chest pain, right, in variant angina. And one more point you need to note that it occurs usually between midnight and early morning, okay? Medications can relieve this type of angina, but physical exertion is totally not allowed for the patient who is having variant angina, okay? The next are the causes or the risk factors. So always smoking, it can cause damage to endothelium, that is heart endothelium lining in the heart, right? Then diabetes, dyslipidemia, obesity condition, hypertension, stress, right? Then any sort of kidney disease, okay? Then hyperthyroidism, hypoxemia, then profound anemia, uncontrolled hypertension, then tachycardia, right? Tachyarrhythmias, bradyarrhythmia, valvular heart disease, okay? Then hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. All these are the causes of angina. Then what are the complications of angina? So angina, it is accompanied by heart attack. Why heart attack? Because it is, as earlier you have because in my earlier session, as I've told, as an earlier slide I have discussed that due to fat deposition, right, this can cause severe angina, right? There are three types of angina you understood. So because of fatty deposits, right, it can lead to heart attack, right, because of impaired supply of oxygenated blood to the heart, to the muscles of heart, okay, triggering to heart attack. Then stroke condition. Why? Because if there is any complication regarding angina and if there occurs reduced supply of blood to the brain, this can lead to stroke condition. Now how this is recognized? So it is recognized by a FAST parameter. FAST, that is first it is called face, from F, that is one side, drooped face, nose, smile, drooped eye and mouth. Then arms, A for arms, that is weakness or numbness in arms. Then S, that is for speech, if slurred speech occurs. Then T, that is for time, so should take care at the earliest, okay? So this is recognized by FAST parameter, stroke. The next is stress or anxiety and depression, right? So angina can lead to stress condition, means it can lead to depression also, anxiety also, and stress condition also. So a patient feels hopeless, right, during this condition. Now I hope you must have understood regarding the overview of angina. What are the three types of angina, how it occurs, right? That is the pathophysiology, what are the causes, risk factors, signs and symptoms. So these are the FAQs which can be frequently asked in exams, right? And in my next session, I'll be discussing regarding myocardial infarction and atherosclerosis, right, which is a part of ischemic heart disease. This was angina pectoris, right? So these are the references, and till then please like and subscribe for more videos, our YouTube channel, that is Pharma Ignite. Okay, thank you.